Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel BBC Rare Coins. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story behind one of America's most iconic coins, the Washington Quarter Dollar. Let's start. Top 1. Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing and valuable coins in American numismatics, the rare and incredibly sought-after 1965 Washington Quarter Dollar era. Believe it or not, this quarter, which most people would consider just everyday change, has been known to sell for prices as high as $78,000. So, what's the story behind this remarkable coin? Let's break it down. First, some background. The Washington Quarter was introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington on the 200th anniversary of his birth. For decades, these quarters were struck in 90% silver. But in 1965, the U.S. Mint made a huge change. They stopped using silver in quarters and switched to a clad composition of copper and nickel to save on precious metal costs. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Officially, no silver quarters were minted in 1965. Every quarter produced that year was supposed to be copper-nickel clad. However, a very small number of 1,965 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets. The blanks used for earlier silver quarters from before 1965. This error created what numismatists call the 1965 Silver Washington Quarter, an extremely rare and highly prized coin because it was never meant to exist. The Mint's records don't officially confirm these silver strikes for 65, which makes them even more mysterious and exciting to collectors. Because of this rarity, these silver 1965 quarters are not only valuable for their metal content, but also for their uniqueness as Mint errors. They shine with a distinctive silver look, heavier weight, and different sound compared to regular clad quarters. Detecting one requires a keen eye and sometimes professional grading to confirm authenticity. What makes this coin stand out even more is its condition. Most error coins, especially those accidentally struck on silver planchets, tend to be circulated or damaged. But when a 1965 silver quarter is found in pristine or near mint condition, its value skyrockets. The coin essentially becomes a tangible piece of Mint history and a collector's dream. Over the years, a few verified examples of this coin have appeared at auctions and private sales, often fetching prices in the tens of thousands. One remarkable sale reportedly reached a stunning $78,000, an incredible figure for a coin that looks so familiar to everyday Americans. This incredible value stems from a perfect storm of factors: rarity, historical significance, metal content, and condition. The 1965 silver quarter is a powerful reminder that even the most common coins can hide extraordinary stories and unexpected value. If you're a coin collector, or just someone who loves uncovering hidden treasures, the 1965 Washington Quarter silver error is a true gem. So next time you find a quarter that seems different, maybe it looks shinier, feels heavier, or just sounds off, take a closer look. You could be holding one of the rarest and most valuable quarters in U.S. history, worth tens of thousands of dollars. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's rarest coins, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more fascinating coin stories, and share this video with your friends who love history and collectibles. Until next time, keep hunting for those hidden treasures. Top 2. In 1972, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of Washington quarters, coins that most Americans used daily, passed from hand to hand without a second thought. But among the countless pieces struck that year, a small number slipped through the cracks, coins unlike any others, carrying with them a hidden value far beyond their face. One such coin, a seemingly ordinary 1972 Washington quarter, stunned the numismatic world when it sold for an astonishing $69,000. How could a 25-cent coin become one of the most valuable quarters in American history? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, error, and condition. The 1972 Washington Quarter is not typically considered rare in its standard form. The Philadelphia Mint alone struck over 250 million of them. But hidden within that massive production run were anomalies. Minting mistakes so rare and so dramatic that they transformed simple pocket change into collector legends. Some of these quarters were struck on silver planchets left over from previous years, even though by 1972, quarters were officially made from a copper-nickel clad composition. Others bore double dies, off-center strikes, or proof die features mint only for special collector editions. The most valuable of these, the one that commanded the $69,000 price tag, featured a dramatic combination of errors, a misstrike, a rare die variety, and near-flawless condition. To collectors, this wasn't just an accident, it was a masterpiece. A coin that shouldn't exist, yet somehow survived mint scrutiny, circulation, and decades of handling to arrive in pristine form, eventually finding its way to a major auction house, where bidding erupted in a frenzy among seasoned numismatists. Coins like this are the stuff of dreams. It's the fantasy every collector quietly harbors, that one day, a forgotten coin at the bottom of a jar, one that's been sitting for years, will turn out to be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And that's exactly what happened with the 1972 Washington quarter that hit $69,000. The moment it was certified, its fate was sealed. This was no longer pocket change. It was a trophy, a numismatic relic, a whisper of a past mistake that turned into modern gold. Collectors and coin experts speculate that fewer than a handful of these quarters exist in similar condition and with the same unique features. Their rarity is multiplied by the fact that many of the errors from that year went unnoticed, either spent and lost forever, or worn down so badly in circulation that their identifying characteristics vanished. That makes the surviving examples all the more extraordinary. The coin in question bore subtle signs of misalignment, a shifted design on the obverse, clear doubling on the word liberty, and a mirrored finish not typically found on circulation strikes, the calling card of a proof die mistakenly used in a production run. When these attributes combine on a single coin, and it's preserved in high mint state condition, the result is a numismatic unicorn. Almost mythical, undeniably valuable, that it's not just about a number. $69,000 isn't just a price, it's a symbol. A symbol of how something as overlooked as a quarter can carry within it the weight of history, mystery, and value. And it's a wake-up call for collectors, casual and serious alike, that treasure may not always be buried. Sometimes it jingles in your pocket, waiting to be discovered. The 1972 Washington quarter stands as a testament to the unpredictable beauty of minting errors and the thrill of the hunt in numismatics. It's a reminder that even in the most common things, greatness and incredible worth can be hidden. So the next time you find a quarter from 1972, take a closer look. Examine the edges, the date, the lettering, the weight. It may be nothing, but it may also be the next chapter in a legendary story. A story of how 25 cents became $69,000. Top 3. The year was 1980. Gas was cheap, music was changing, and Americans were dropping quarters into arcade machines and soda machines without a second glance. But what if one of those quarters was worth more than your car, more than your house? What if, in 1980, the U.S. Mint unknowingly released one of the most valuable quarters in American history? A Washington quarter dollar worth a staggering $63,000. It happened to most people. A 1980 Washington quarter is nothing more than spare change, copper nickel clad, produced by the millions and virtually ignored. Over 635 million of them were struck by the Philadelphia Mint that year. But among those hundreds of millions, a mistake, a rare anomaly, gave birth to a legend. One coin, and possibly only one, would go on to stun collectors and shatter expectations. A 1980 Washington quarter dollar, sold at auction $4.63,000. Not because of age, not because of gold or silver, but because of rarity and error. This quarter wasn't ordinary. It carried a mistake that few ever noticed, a misstrike so precise, so unique, that it instantly elevated the coin into the pantheon of modern numismatic treasures. Some coins are struck on the wrong metal. Others feature dramatic die clashes, missing letters, or double imprints. This one had it all, a combination of errors that should have never left the mint floor. Struck on a transitional planchet never meant for quarters, this 1980 specimen bore the gleam of an unexpected alloy. Heavier than normal, different in sound, slightly off in hue. But that wasn't the only thing that made it special. It featured doubling on the obverse, clear shifts in the date, and partial ghosting of design elements, likely the result of a misaligned die or pressure error. And most shockingly, a script-style inscription on its reverse, Unlike anything seen on standard issues, that's what sent collectors into a frenzy. Scripted letters in the motto, possibly from a misused reverse die or a rare engraving prototype, transformed the coin from a curious mint error into an outright mystery. No record of such a die was found in the mint's public documentation. Its existence hinted at secret tests, an abandoned redesign, or an experimental strike never meant to enter circulation. But this one did. It was discovered not in a museum, not in a collection, but in circulation, decades later, sitting quietly in a coin jar, its true value hidden behind the dull shine of age. When it was finally authenticated and graded, the numismatic world took notice. Offers began to pour in. At auction, bidding was fierce, international, unstoppable. And when the hammer dropped, the final sale price read $63,000 from 25 cents to $63,000. A transformation no one saw coming. A coin no one expected. A once-in-a-generation error that redefined what collectors thought was possible from modern coinage. The 1980 Washington quarter dollar with the mysterious script lettering is now more than a coin. It's a story, a symbol, a warning to never underestimate the coins in your own pocket. This rare quarter proved that even in the era of mass production, even in a year flooded with hundreds of millions of identical coins, the unexpected can emerge. A ghost from the mint's past, a flaw that became fortune, a secret preserved in metal. And here's the truth. It may not be the only one that collectors today are hunting. Searching coin rolls, checking date stamps, looking for subtle signs, that unusual shine, that slight doubling, that unfamiliar style in the lettering. Because if one 1980 Washington quarter dollar with a script-style error sold for $63,000, who's to say another isn't out there? In a drawer, in a box, in your hand right now. The most valuable coins don't always come with glitter or shine. Sometimes they come disguised as the most ordinary thing in the world. A quarter, but when history, error, and mystery align, that quarter becomes a legend. The 1980 Washington quarter dollar, the $63,000 secret, still echoing through the hands of collectors, still waiting to be found again. Top 4. Hidden in plain sight, overlooked by millions. The 1990 Washington quarter dollar is one of the most valuable and mysterious modern coins in American history. At first glance, it appears ordinary, just another piece of pocket change bearing the familiar image of George Washington. But among the millions minted that year, a rare and costly error slipped through the cracks, a quarter struck without a mint mark. In 1990, all quarters produced at the Philadelphia Mint were required to carry a P under Washington's neck. This was no longer optional or experimental, it was a standard part of the minting process. Yet somehow, a small batch escaped without it. No P, no D, nothing at all. A blank space where there should have been a mark of origin. For most, this detail went unnoticed. The coin passed through countless hands, bought coffee, fed meters, fell between couch cushions. But to a trained numismatist or a lucky collector, the missing mint mark was not a flaw. It was a golden ticket. Only a handful of these no mint mark quarters have ever been discovered and authenticated, and one pristine example shocked the coin collecting world when it sold at auction for an astonishing $52,000. That's not a misprint. A 25-cent piece sold for the price of a luxury vehicle. Not because it was made of silver or gold, not because it was centuries old, but because it wasn't supposed to exist. This coin became a legend, a symbol of how even the most ordinary object can contain hidden value. Its rarity lies in a perfect storm of chance, human oversight, mechanical error, and survival in near-perfect condition. While millions of 1990 quarters remain in circulation, only a tiny number of them were struck without the mint mark. Most were lost, spent, or damaged before anyone realized their worth. But those few that survived? They are now among the most sought-after modern coins in the world. The 1990 no mint mark Washington quarter isn't just a collector's dream. It's a reminder that treasure can still be found in the smallest, most unexpected places. It fuels the hope of everyday people checking their change jars, peering at coins under magnifying glasses, wondering if they've stumbled upon a miracle. In a world driven by fast transactions and digital currency, this one rare coin proves that something as simple as a quarter can still hold a story, a mystery, and a life-changing surprise. Top 5. In the vast history of American coinage, few coins spark as much mystery, excitement, and raw monetary value as the 1992 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it looks like any other quarter. Same design, same familiar face of George Washington, same copper-nickel composition. But hidden among the millions produced that year is one of the rarest and most valuable error coins ever discovered. The 1992 Washington quarter with a proof reverse, known by collectors as the 1992 Close AM quarter. One of these elusive coins has sold for a staggering $71,000, making it one of the most expensive Washington quarters ever to exist. It all comes down to one critical detail, something almost invisible to the naked eye, but instantly life-changing to those who recognize it. Most 1992 quarters feature a standard reverse design with the letters AM in America spaced apart. But a very small number, fewer than a handful known, were accidentally struck using a proof die, intended only for collectors' coins. On these rare quarters, the AM in America is closer together, nearly touching. That subtle design difference is not a stylistic choice. It's a minting error, and one that turns a 25-cent coin into a $71,000 treasure. But what caused this mistake? It was the result of a rare die mix-up at the U.S. Mint, when a proof reverse die meant for high-quality collector coins was accidentally used on regular circulation strikes. This wasn't supposed to happen. Proof dies are sharper, cleaner, and carry distinct design elements not intended for everyday pocket change. Yet somehow, the proof die made its way onto the production floor, and before anyone could notice, a few coins slipped through. These quarters were sent out like any others, mixed into bags, rolled into paper, and handed out at banks and stores across the country. No fanfare, no announcements, just silent rarity drifting through the fingers of an unsuspecting public. For years, these coins went unnoticed, until sharp-eyed collectors, trained in the art of detail, began to uncover the truth. When the first 1992 Close AM quarter was discovered, the coin-collecting world erupted in disbelief. Was it real? Could it be authenticated? And if so, what was it worth? The answer came in the form of a record-breaking auction. One of these rare quarters, in near-flawless condition, fetched $71,000 at sale, a sum most people will never see from a single coin, let alone a quarter they might have spent on a soda. And here's the most mind-blowing part. There could be more. Sitting in old piggy banks, buried in forgotten coin jars, lost between car seats, or hiding in plain sight at the bottom of a junk drawer. No one knows how many were made, or how many remain. It is the ultimate modern-day treasure hunt, a test of patience, knowledge, and luck. The 1992 Washington quarter with the proof reverse isn't just a rare coin. It's a perfect storm of American history, minting error, and collector obsession. It proves that in the world of coins, value isn't always about what a coin is made of, but what makes it different. It's a story of imperfection creating something perfect, of a small, silent mistake becoming a legendary prize. So the next time you hold a quarter from 1992, look closely. Examine the reverse. Look at the spacing in America. You could be holding a piece of hidden fortune. One tiny detail, one rare mistake, could turn your 25 cents into $71,000. Because in the world of coin collecting, the most valuable treasures aren't always locked in vaults. Sometimes, they're hiding in your change.